The order of operations, starting with the importance of context, right? We've talked a little bit about in past weeks, the binary decision making, what I like to call it, getting things boiled down to option A as a light switch that's always on, or option B that is triggered when something happens to change my mind. And context is really the secret ingredient to make that possible. Like I couldn't say in any general situation in basketball, this is what you should always do, and this is the second option, counter move. It has to be very contextual, meaning a specific situation is setting up, there's players in certain spots, and based on that snapshot, is what I like to call it, that gives us the right order of operations, what our options should be based on that situation. So that allows us to get to a rank order of importance or order of priority would be another way to say that. So that you should try this first, and if that is not available, then you can go to option two. And I think about this a lot like the order of operations for math. And if you're familiar with that at all, it's like taking whatever's in parentheses first. If you have a math formula, right? Add or multiply or whatever's inside the brackets, do that first. And then if there's an exponent outside the brackets, then apply that next. And then you would go to any multiplication or division, and then you would go to addition or subtraction last. And that's how I kind of like to think about different basketball actions. So we've already worked on the individual side with just playing closeout one-on-one, working on our stride, stop, catch, shoot it or drive it, making that quick decision. And that's a really great analogy to start from, just to get you understand kind of my approach here. And so the order of operations there is shoot first always and drive second, right? It's a simple binary decision, but we have a clear order that we're evaluating our options in. And the opposite is true when we have the ball already in our hands, like we worked on in week 4, going through ball handling, playing one-on-one off the dribble. If the ball is already a live dribble, then my best option is to attack the rim first. Like I should be driving as my first priority. My first order of operations is drive and score unless somebody stops me. And then if they back off, I can pull up and shoot. But if they stay close to me, I'm blown by them to drive to the basket. So in a team setting, we look at very similar with the difference between a fast break and where the defense is and how the ball is operating and whether we have the ball ourselves or we are running ahead of the ball or behind the ball. And in a half court, similar approach. Like if I have the ball in my hands, I'm coming down to just drive and score every time and make the defense have to figure out how to stop me. And when they do stop me, then I kick it and it opens up kind of a natural progression of other options. And then the last part of this that I really wish all coaches understood is the difference in types of possessions. And I learned this from my mentor, Ron Ecker, really great guy, former NBA assistant coach for a long time. And he actually broke it down more than I'm going to bother you with, but he broke it into 7 different types. And what I try to get across is just the 2 big ones, which are what he called positive possessions or negative possessions. Positive possessions are when you have an advantage based on how you got the ball in your hands as a team. So positive would be steals and defensive rebounds. You have the ball and you have the element of surprise, and the other team has a really hard time stopping you. Therefore, you should play fast and try to score as soon as possible. The second type is a negative offense possession. Either the ball went through the net, regular field goal, or free throw. You had to step out of bounds before you could give it to your teammate and get going. Or worst case, ball went out of bounds or somebody traveled. Referee had to touch the ball and hand it to you to then inbound it. Both of those are so slow that you have no element of surprise. You have no advantage when you attack. The defense is already back and waiting for you. And so what we try to work on as a first priority is knowing the difference between those two. So you're not always attacking fast and running into a set defense and having way higher turnovers than you need to have, but you're also not always walking the ball up and losing that element of surprise advantage when you did get a defensive rebound or a steal. And you're also not, as a big guy, waiting around for somebody to rescue you from the ball and take it from you, or you give it to a guard you are taking the ball and leading the attack so that your team has that advantage element of surprise.